Okay, is anyone else live? Because we are. All right, everybody, that is my Wi-Fi. Welcome to Behind the Scenes. We have a great topic to talk about today, and I'm going to just introduce it and then pass it to Mindy. But the topic is, what are the pros and cons of having our kids work in the summer? And this is a conversation that goes on all the time. But we're going to bring it down to our level of our own experiences and what we think the pros and cons are. So Mindy, you start and I'll wrap it up at the end.
Okay, thank you, Sue. I have 3 boys, all in their 20s, grown and flown. All 3 had summer jobs, starting with getting working permits at 15. They did everything from lifeguarding to camp counselors to teaching a sport, working for their travel sport team in the summer and being a coach or something. And I just think it teaches them so much. It teaches them discipline. It teaches them how to get along with others above and below them. So maybe kids, for instance, one of my favorite examples is my youngest was a camp counselor, and they took the kids to an amusement park. And he had 5 or 6. And he said, we're waiting in line and they're kicking the fence and they're making noise. These were 6th grade, 5th grade, 4th grade, something like that. And he, they didn't listen to him. He couldn't get him to stop. Another time they took him to an arcade and he was, 2 were here and 3 were there. And it was, I said to him, Ryan, this is such a great experience for you for when you have kids, because it isn't easy. So for me, they just learned you had to get up. You had to be there on time. You had to find a way there. And plus they had their own money. So I see absolutely no downside, to be honest, to they also to a summer job. They also played sports during that time. So they were all on travel teams. I mean, Eka, our kids were up at 5:30 or in the pool at 5:30 on a summer morning. And then they would go to work. And you know what? They survived. They're fine. And it really, they can see now as they're in their jobs, as they say, early 20s to late 20s, as they're in their jobs, the younger group coming in just doesn't have the work ethic. And so it's just, I think it's very positive. I see very, very little downside to summer jobs. So
okay,
that's my spiel.
Let's show Lucy's question, because Sharon is the closest to that, I think, in terms of age. So Lucy wants to know, is 14 too young? Her son wants to work and feels too old for camps. Sharon, any thoughts here?
I can weigh in on this. I mean, of course, this was a million years ago, but I started working when I was 14, and I also really wanted to work as soon as I turned 14. And it was great. I mean, I think the fact that your son wants to work is fantastic. I mean, it shows a real drive to do something. I mean, maybe you wouldn't want him to work, 40 hours Monday through Friday, because you want him to have time to get outside and, still be a kid a little bit. But I would go for it. If you can find a job. See, I have one who's 14 and I have one who's 16, and there really aren't very many opportunities for my 14-year-old. There's a few more when you hit 15, and then it seems like 16 is the time when it really opens up wide. But another thing that might be an option if you cannot find a paying job is volunteering. In our area at 13, they can volunteer camp counsel, and it's not very intensive. It's usually a morning or an afternoon, and it's only a few weeks of the summer. And it's terrific experience, I think, because, they get practice, like all the benefits Mindy was saying, but sort of in a starting way. They still have to show up. They still have to be responsible. At 13, they don't have a lot of expenses, and even 14 that probably we're not paying for as much. So, a volunteer job at that age, before they're, wanting to pay for a car and things like that and driving places with their friends, it's a great starting ramp. Thanks.
Okay, I want to say, Jess?
You first.
No, go for it.
I was just going to say, because, I was 14, I think, more recently, but
not a million years ago, Jessica?
All right, Jessica, that's just unnecessary. That's just unnecessary.
Compared to everyone else here, Jessica is pointing out. She's much, much younger than all us old ladies.
Oh boy, that's not how I wanted to word that, but no, just babysitting and dog sitting, and also when I was 12, I think they started letting you work at my Sunday school, which that's only 1 day a week, so it's not exactly the biggest job in the world, but I don't know. Those are all stuff I was able to find when I was a kid. I'm going to
Okay,
myself
Lucy, now that you got us thinking about this, I love entrepreneurs, like these young entrepreneurs who come up with like, I can mow your lawn for you, or whatever other ideas, like put down soil. And I think people are charmed by that. And even if they don't really need it, it's like, yeah, come. And one of my kids wanted something. It was during winter. So they shoveled walks for people, because even if you have someone doing your driveway, that doesn't usually include your walk. And that kid made enough money to buy what they wanted and then wanted to stop. And so here's another really good lesson. If people are counting on you, you can't stop. Like, I made enough money for my Xbox, so I'm done. No. You committed to a season, you finish it up. So there's really just so many benefits to like jumping in there and earning some money or volunteering. Anybody else have other ideas? Lucy's probably full of ideas now that she brought it up. But if anyone else here has an idea,
just a quick idea, and it made me think of volunteering. And actually, my oldest son did when he was quite young. Taking care. I noticed, and I'm sure everyone else did, during the pandemic, so many people got dogs. Right, a ton of people got dogs. They were home. At least people around my neck of the woods. And now they're heading back to work. So through the summer, dog walking, I think. And I know my oldest did that to a neighbor of ours way back when we lived in New Jersey. And he would let the dog out. They were both school teachers. He would let the dog out, and play with him for a little bit and go back. So I just think that's another maybe great option, is in the neighborhood, dog walking, exercise outside, and you can make a little bit of cash. So sorry to jump in. Next, Kamira.
I'm here. Summer jobs, right? I love the idea of summer jobs. My boys have always worked in the summer, mainly because I don't give them a lot of money. So they want to buy anything, they have to earn the money. And they've always wanted money. As they got older, it elevated to internships, and there's increased pressure to do different things. Last summer, everybody, we did well in the beginning of the pandemic, but there's only so long that you can do well. And last summer was really difficult on our high schooler. And he always had intensive, very busy summers. He has these intensive music camps, and he would work, and summer was his time to do what he wanted. And he just didn't want to do anything last summer. And he really loves books and reading. And he's like, I think I'm just going to work in a bookstore. And I was like, because this was it was right before senior year, and I was like, oh my goodness, you need to be doing things. But I decided to leave him be, and he ended up having the best experience. Instead of going to like a big box store or like one of those Barnes and Noble, he went to a local bookstore and worked with a woman there. A friend of a friend got him the job, actually, because the owner was like, I've never done this before. And he learned so much. He learned about how to operate a small business. She really liked him. He did more than just shelving. He helped her redo a computer system. He was eager to go every day. She was giving him cards and presents during his tenure there. And it really did a lot for him, much more than maybe another music camp and another internship would have done. Who knows? But I saw her a week ago, a week from Saturday. And I introduced myself and I said, I'm his mom. And I explained to her how grateful I was that she allowed him that experience. And I explained to her how COVID had really gotten to him and that helped bring him out of it. And I wanted to thank her for that. And so she in turn said, thank you, because I was thinking of him today because we have just hired an intern for this summer. We're going to do it every year now because he did such a good job. So it was a win-win on both sides. Very excited about that. I'm going to send it over to Eka.
Good morning. I have both of my kids worked in the summer. That we just thought it was best, because since they did the activities, there was still a lot of time. Because during the school year, if they do anything after school, they go to school all day and then they come home and they eat and they would do their activity and then they would come home and eat and then they would do homework. So when the summer comes, I want them to relax, but then there's so much time that they have. So they were working. And one of the things that happened, I think I've shared the story before, is our daughter was working at a country club and she was a lifeguard, and then they had a snack bar there. And so she was kind of part of, she had to do a little bit of everything. So one day when she was home, we were having dinner and we were finished with dinner. We were sitting outside and she gets up and she says, "Is everybody done?" And we said, "Yes." So she busts the table because that's what she used to doing. And she's throwing stuff away. And the next thing I know, I hear a trash bag being opened, and she noticed the garbage can was full. Because of what she does at work, she was emptying the garbage and putting a new trash bag in. And all of a sudden she just goes, "What am I doing?" I was like, "Have at it, girl. Have at it." So a lot of the skills she learned at work, she was able to translate and bring them home, which was a bonus for us. So I don't know if anybody else has anybody else. I think Sharon, did you go? I think you did go. But if you have anything else,
I do have something else to add. I talked about younger teens working. One of the things, and I echo everything everybody says about the value of working, but one of the things we sometimes don't think about is how confidence building it is to go from a brand new job where you don't know anything about how to do this job. So maybe you have to learn a menu, or you have to learn, how to open the store or whatever it is. Every job is so brand new. So everybody's a beginner. But unlike something like learning an instrument, which takes forever, it feels like, years and years and years, or learning calculus or whatever, over the course of the summer, these kids get really good at their jobs. I mean, that's the whole point of a summer job. It's something you can go from zero to being pretty good at it pretty quickly. And then I just think that's so transferable. If you've done that a couple times, then you realize like, oh yeah, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing in this new situation, but I've done this before, I can figure this out, or it won't always feel like this. So I just think that's such a great feeling of capability that they can take with them from having had a summer job. So I think, Sue, we're passing it to you. Is that right?
Can I just real quick, this isn't a very important comment. I just want to let everyone know that I think technically Your Teen Magazine was my summer job back in I think it was college, so I was like 19, but just saying. All right,
it was awesome. It was awesome, and look where it led us to a long, loving relationship, very fruitful. So I want to say, first of all, hi Jerry. We love to see you on here, and thanks for saying that we had some good stories. And what I want to say is, number one of my favorite comments is, "Who's FICA?" So I just love when your kid realizes there's something, you make $1, you don't walk home with $1. Welcome to the world. So I think it's an unbelievable education in what having a job really means in terms of income. And then the other thing I love is how they change in their spending, because once they've worked hard for it, it really changes the value of money for them. I had one kid who wanted to visit an older sibling who was studying abroad for a semester. And we said, "We'll pay half the trip. You earn the other half." And that trip was so meaningful on so many levels, like having worked for it and not being handed it. And so I think there is no downside to this. And there also are so many more opportunities than what we think of. Like we think of maybe when we were looking for summer jobs, we put in an application at a retail store, or we worked as a camp counselor. And if that's not available to your kid or not of interest, there's so many other things. Oh, here's something that my kids did. I love this. There's like a week or two at the end of the summer. I don't know if that's everywhere, where organized camps are done. And parents who work or just really need some help are looking for things for their kids to do. So we had years and years of backyard camps where parents were so grateful to drop their kids off for a few hours and pay really quite a good amount of money. And there would be a few kids that age, my kid and some friends, and they planned and planned and planned and were so responsible. And I was always home because they weren't old enough to be left in charge. But that was entrepreneurialism at its best, like really from the ground up, every step of it. And my sons did it, although they did not like it as much. They would come home and say, I don't like kids, both of them. But my girls loved it. Like they did have more of an inclination of like enjoying being with those kids. So one last suggestion, and now I'm going to turn it over to Kamira to tell us what's going on tomorrow morning. Oh, and I'll let you know that tomorrow night we have a program at 8:00 Eastern time. And it's an expert from Newport Academy. We're going to talk about mental health and what the summer is for us as parents, how we can use that summer to identify issues, to deal with them, and to get them prepared to go back in the fall in a healthier mental health way. So there's a link, you have to register. There it is. Jessica got it up there in 2 seconds. So sign up. It's tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. You'll get all that information after you sign up. If you can't attend live, by the way, of course, we will be sending out the recording afterwards. And now to Kamira.
I unmuted and muted myself back again. I am fangirling over tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Dr. Gail Wyatt. Our topic is we're going to discuss what happens, what you should do, how you should prepare your teens when they are confronted either as a bystander or as a target of any type of discrimination, whatever it may be. I'm fangirling over her because she is a very big deal. She is the first African-American woman to be a licensed psychiatrist in the state of California, the first as a full professor at the UCLA Medical School, and the list goes on and on and on. So if I'm doing this the whole time, you'll know why. Join us tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time.